Hello everyone, wishing you all a very good afternoon. Well, as we all know that this is the fourth and final lecture for thermodynamics. Thermodynamics, we are going to wind up with this particular lecture, and at the same time we'll also be winding up your crash course from today. So today being Thursday, 2 days are left for your JE Advanced exam, and Friday and Saturday are the 2 days. Many a times, student ask me, sir, what to do in the last 2 3 days, and I always have the same answer for everyone who asks me this question: is well, there is nothing much that you can do in the last 2 3 days. It's all about just keeping yourself fit and fine, and maintaining your motivation and passion. These are the 2 or 3 pointers that I would like to give you 2 or 3 days before the exam, that whatever you have studied in the past 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, depending on how long you have been studying for JE, well, everything comes to test tomorrow. I mean, tomorrow means Sunday. On Sunday, everything comes to test on Sunday. It's tough. You must be feeling nervous, but it's obvious everyone feels so. Remember, I always keep on telling everyone that JE is just an exam, and no matter how you perform in this exam, maybe at this point in time it feels very important, but trust me, 5 years or 6 years down the line, while you are working in an industry, it might not matter that much. Might not matter that much. I know that you would hardly remember what rank you got in fifth standard. Now, listen to one thing and listen to it very carefully. Now, in your life, which is you have only lived only 1/5 or 1/6 of your life up till now, maybe 1/4, 1/5. The life that is coming after this, what matters is what you have done as your last step. That only matters. What you have done at your last step. What do I mean by that? When you come into 11th standard, for example, you're already past 11th. When you come into 11th standard, the only thing that matters to you is what you had done in the 10th standard, and that probably decides what you're going to do in the coming 2 years. Once you have passed 12th standard, the only thing that matters is your 12th ka board exam ka result and your JE or NEET ka result, because that is the only thing that matters at that point in time. Once you pass out of your college, that is 4 years from now, whatever college you get in, JE, IIT, NEET, NIT, regional colleges, any college that you get in, 4 years down the line, when you pass out of that college, it doesn't matter what was your rank in IIT or what was your rank in JE. What matters is the degree that you have got, what is written on that degree, how much percentage is written on that degree. That is the only thing that matters at that point in time. The JE exam will not matter at all. 4 more years down the line, and probably you have gone in for higher studies, you have gone in for an MBA probably. Now, once you get into this MBA college, it could be an IIM, it could be another college in this country. Now what matters is the degree that you get from that college. The previous degree, your engineering degree, whether it's from IIT or NIT, it hardly matters now. Because now the most recent achievement that you have is the degree from your MBA college. As you move on in your life, you are working in an industry, you are working in a company, all these degrees are worthless now. What all matters is your performance in that industry, in that company, how well you are doing it. If you're doing it well enough, you will get a lot of promotion, you will get a lot of promotions. You will go higher up in the hierarchy order. Now, what again matter at this or those hierarchy orders is what you have done 2 years in that organization. What you have done today or what you're going to do on 3rd of October, it will not matter at all. Trust me. When I'm saying this after facing After going through all those things that you are going to go through now, and I'm talking this from experience, from my experience in life. What matters is just your last 1 or 2 years. That is the only thing that matters ever in your life. Right now, the most important thing would be your 12th ka board ka exam, which I think are over, and your JEE ka result, which is going to come, and your JEE ka exam. Give it your best shot. Don't worry about the result. Result is not in your hands. Whatever you do, wherever you go, if you have the passion, you should be able to make a good life for yourself. If you do your job as a job, you will never succeed in life. If you do what you like as your job, it is not a job anymore. It is fun always. That is how I'll begin today's class, which happens to be the last class of your crash course. We were discussing thermodynamics up till now. We have discussed isochloric process, constant volume process. Work done in this process is zero. Change in internal energy is equal to heat given, and that will be always equal to NCV delta T. We had gone through isochloric process. The work done in this case is P, pressure is constant, P into delta V, or I can also write it as N R into delta T. In this case also, your delta U, you can write delta Q as NCP delta T, and you can write delta U in all the cases as NCV delta T. We have also seen the isothermal process or isotherm. In this, temperature remains constant. Work done can be written in a lot of forms. We have seen nRT, natural log of V2 by V1 or P1 by P2. You can write it this way. The change in internal energy here is zero because there is no change in temperature, and hence your delta Q is equal to delta W. Remember, for an isothermal process, the process has to be taking place in perfectly conducting walls or conducting cylinder, and the process has to be extremely slow so that there is enough time available for exchange of heat between the system and the surrounding. So wherever you hear this term extremely slow, you can assume that this process has to be isothermal, or you have this hint that this process is taking place in conducting walls. Now, if I reverse the condition, what do I mean by reverse the condition? In isothermal process, the walls are made up of conducting material, perfectly conducting materials, because we want a constant heat exchange. We want a constant heat exchange. Remember my words, all these words may matter. We want a constant heat exchange between the system and its surroundings, because if there is a constant heat exchange, a very fast heat exchange, as soon as heat is given to the system gives it away, or as soon as something is taking the heat out of the system, heat comes into the system. If that thing happens, well, the temperature will not change, and therefore in every isothermal process we are trying to maintain a constant transfer of heat between the system and the surrounding so that the temperature of the system remains constant. Do you understand this? Can I have raised hands? To understand this, then the adiabatic process becomes very simple to understand. You understand this? Raise hand will give me more confidence. Okay, well done. Now, if I reverse the entire situation, that means I think about a system, I think about a process where there is no heat exchange, delta Q, no heat exchange between the system and the surrounding. Now, how can I assure that there could be no heat exchange between the system and the surrounding? I will conduct this process in perfectly non-conducting walls. Non-conducting walls, or people may call it adiabatic walls. So if I make walls perfectly insulated, if I make the walls of the cylinder perfectly insulated. I will not allow any exchange of heat between the system and the surrounding, and if I don't allow it, there will not be any heat exchange. The other thing that I can do here is I make the process extremely fast. Now, if I do the process extremely fast, there will not be enough time available for any heat exchange between the system and the surrounding. If there is no time available for heat exchange, there would be no heat exchange. So these are the two conditions which are coming from the same fact that we need. There should not be any heat exchange between the system and the surrounding. To ensure that I must conduct the process in a perfectly non-conducting environment, and the process must be extremely fast, and this process is then known as an adiabatic process. Do we understand this? Now, in adiabatic process, both P, V, and T will change. All of these three parameters will change, but we can also write a relation between P and V. PV raised to the power gamma is constant, where gamma is your ratio of specific heat, Cp by Cv. Yes or no? We understand this much up till here? PV raised to the power gamma is constant. We understand this? Raise hand will give me more confidence. Great. Now, since we have written an equation between P and V, we can also write an equation between T and V and T and P. Can you tell me what are the relations? It's good that you can remember those relations, because in the examination hall, you might make a mistake of writing a different relation, and a simple mistake will cost you very much. Can you tell me the relation between, that is the relation that I remember, between P and V? What is the relation between T and V and P and T? Between T and V, the relation is TV raised to the power gamma minus 1 is constant. Do we remember this? Do we remember this? Yes or no? Okay. Just a moment. Just a minute. Just too much of light coming on my face. I'll just adjust it. Okay, this is good. Too much of light coming on my face. Just give me a moment. All these monitors are right in front of me, and they give a lot of brightness. Okay, now it feels good, better, soothing for the eye. So TV raised to the power gamma minus 1 is constant. Then there is a relation between T and P. Please remember this, don't forget this. T raised to the power gamma, P raised to the power 1 minus gamma. I think this is the most difficult one to remember. I basically remember the first one, and then I hope that I can do everything with the first one. These are the three relations that you must remember. Both nahi. All the three quantities P, V, and T are changing. Remember, number of moles is not going to change, because there will not be any heat exchange. Oh, there will not be any matter exchange. It's a closed system. Now, in this case, remember delta Q is 0. How much is work done in this process? How do you remember it? I'll tell you my way of remembering it. What is the work done in this process? How do you remember it? Anyone? Okay. I don't remember work done in this process, but I remember one thing, that change in internal energy is always NCV delta T. And I always know that NCV, CV is R upon gamma minus 1. So this is NR delta T upon gamma minus 1. Do we understand this? Can I have some raise hand that we understand this, sir? Now, I also remember that delta Q is delta U plus delta W. This is first law of thermodynamics. And in this process, delta Q is 0. That means delta W must be equal to minus of delta U, just minus it. So your answer is NR delta T upon 1 minus gamma. This is the easiest way of remembering it. I remember it that way. I've given you my way of remembering it. I will leave your way on yourself. This is how I remember it. You must have seen a derivation or find out the work done by gas in an adiabatic process, and they start with this work done delta W is P into dV. Then they will substitute P in terms of dV in terms of P or P in terms of dV. Then they will integrate. It's a big thing. I don't have to do all much. If I have sufficient brains, I could do it in a smarter way. And that is my way of doing things. Do we understand this? Is it good? I've saved a lot of time of integration. I don't do all this integration stuff. Not needed. I can use my brain. I can do it smartly. That is what I call smart work. Okay. So far so good. Yes or no? So far so good. Are we able to follow this? Okay. What I'm going to do next is just go through this process and discuss some important points over here. And again, things have become a bit, I just arrange it. Just give me a moment. Okay. So, adiabatic process. The three different ways in which I can write this process is definitely PV raised to the power gamma is constant, T raised to the power gamma into P raised to the power 1 minus gamma is constant, T into V raised to the power gamma minus 1 is a constant. We understand this? Shall I move ahead? I'm going to enhance the view here. Okay. Now, that takes us to the next part. The slope of PV graph. Remember, I talked about the slope of PV graph in isothermal process. In isothermal process, the slope was minus P by V. Here, the slope is minus gamma times P by V. Therefore, remember, the slope of an adiabatic process is always gamma times more than the slope of an isothermal process. So if I have two processes like this, process number 1 and process number 2, and someone tells you which is the isothermal and which is the isothermal process and which is the adiabatic process. Remember, adiabatic process will always be the process whose slope is more. In fact, if you had any process PV raised to the power eta is constant, remember this is a polytropic process. In fact, all processes are polytropic. This eta should not be equal to 1. That is the only constant. PV is equal to constant is an isothermal process. Whosoever, whatever process you have, if you know the value of this eta, whosoever has more eta will always have more slope. Isothermal graph has eta 1. It's not a polytropic process. So the slope is minus P by V. For an adiabatic, the slope is minus gamma times P by V. For any polytropic process, the slope will be minus eta times P by V. Minus indicating that when pressure increases, volume decreases. Do we understand this? Can I have some raised hand that we understand this? Okay, so remember this. The second graph is PT graph. So the PT graph looks like this. All these slopes, you can remember them, nothing like it. All these slopes, you can remember them, nothing like it. And it does not take rocket science to remember them. If you can observe the pattern is, see, T is raised to the power gamma. T is here, gamma is here, pattern. T is raised to the power gamma. T is in the denominator, P is in the numerator. P is raised to the power 1 minus gamma. 1 minus gamma is in the denominator, this is in the numerator. So inverse relation है दोनों के बीच में. Remember this, you should be able to do this. Am I clear what has gone above our heads? Do you understand this? Okay. Just remember this, and remember it is written in the form of minus 1 by gamma. So this is the minus sign here. So it becomes positive slope. It becomes gamma minus 1. So the slope is positive. Because 1 minus gamma ka negative will be gamma minus 1. So it becomes positive. So this is how I remember it. I have told you my tricks of remembering things. I was very bad at remembering. So I had to find out innovative ways of remembering. And I am just sharing those innovative ways with you. Remember here. See, the same principle applies here. TV raised to the power gamma minus 1 is constant. Was the slope of this, was the equation of this curve. When you differentiate it, it goes like this. V wala term yahan pe, T wala term yahan pe. Are you getting my point, or or this is going above our heads? Again, work done in an adiabatic process. They have also done it in this way. NR delta T divided by 1 minus eta. I always get confused. 1 minus eta hoga, eta minus 1 hoga. I hope you know this. If the work is done by the system, it is positive. If the work is done on the system, it is negative. We all know this. Yes or no? So this is one question that we are going to do on this process. A quantity of air is kept in a container having walls which are slightly conducting. The initial temperatures and volumes are 27 degrees Celsius and 800 centimeter cube respectively. Find the rise in the temperature if the gas is compressed to 200 centimeter cube in a short time, in a long time. The baton passes on to you. Apply your brain, use what you know, and I'm sure you should be able to crack it. Let's say who cracks it. Let's say who cracks it. Short time, long time. So I hope you understand it. The difference between short time and long time. No prizes for guessing this one. When it is short time, the process has to be adiabatic. TV raised to the power gamma is constant. Gamma minus 1 is constant. Just put the values, get the answer, stay happy. When the process takes place in a long time, it has to be isothermal. That is why the walls were slightly what? They were slightly conducting. That is why the reason. Do you understand this, or does? Do you understand this? Can I have some reason that we understand this? Shall I move ahead? Yes or no? Okay, we'll solve this one. A cylindrical container having non-conducting walls is partitioned in two equal parts such that the volume of each part is V naught. I'll show you the diagram later on. A movable non-conducting piston, non-conducting wall, non-conducting piston. So it gives you an idea of what process is going to happen. A movable non-conducting piston is kept between the two parts. Gas on the left is slowly heated so that the gas on the right is compressed up till a volume V naught by 8. Find the pressure and temperature on both sides. If the initial pressure and temperatures were P naught and T naught respectively, also find the heat given by the heater to the gas. Number of moles is small n. So a cylinder having non-conducting walls, non-conducting piston was at the center, total volume is V naught, pressure on both sides is P naught, temperature on both sides is T naught. The gas on the left is slowly heated, gas on the right is compressed, volume is V naught. Find the temperature and volume, pressure and volume of both sides. Will the pressure and temperature be same or different? That is the first question that I'm going to ask. And you can have a look at the diagram as well. This is how the diagram looks like. I hope you have an understanding of the process and what is happening here. I'll give you a minute to win it. You can do this. Well done. So these are the type of questions that we expect would be coming to for you. I hope that you will be able to crack them. So have you thought about it? Now the answer is very simple. Remember, on the left hand side, you are giving heat. So that process is not adiabatic. But on the right hand side, you're not giving any heat. So that process is adiabatic. PV raised to the power gamma has to be a constant. Initial pressure is P naught, so you can find out the final pressure. Initial temperature is known, so you can find out the final temperature. So you know the final temperature and final pressure in the right chamber. Yes or no? Can I have some raised hand that we understand this, sir? Do we understand this, sir? Everyone? Yes or no? Okay. Now remember, the pressure in the right chamber and pressure in the left chamber, the piston has to remain in equilibrium. So pressure in the right chamber and the pressure in the left chamber have to be same. You know the volume in the right chamber, so you know the volume in the left chamber. So this is the volume in the left chamber because total volume has to be 2V naught. So volume in the left chamber is known. Pressure in the left chamber is known. You know that the number of moles is constant. So pressure in the left, volume in the left, initially divided by temperature in the left. Initially we know this was P naught, this was V naught, this was T naught. Final pressure we know PF, which is same. Final volume we know. From here you can find out the final temperature in the left chamber. Yes or no? Do we understand this? Yes or no? Do we understand this? Okay, well done. The only thing that remains is to find out work done, to find out the heat given, delta Q given by the heater. If you just apply your brains and common sense, you should be able to get this answer. You can definitely apply the first law of thermodynamics, that will be equal to delta U, change in temperature. You know the final temperature, you know the initial temperature, NCV delta T. Any process, this thing remains same. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? You understand this? Yes or no? For a monatomic gas, what is the value of CV? So you can apply NCV delta T here. I think they have written it wrongly. It was a monatomic gas. They have written 3. So they have written 5. So it must be 3. NCV delta T. CV will be 3 by 2R into delta T. The only thing is, what is the work done by piston? Now, this work done by piston on the left hand chamber cannot be known directly, but we know that whatever work is done by the piston on the right hand chamber, the same negative work would be done by the piston on the left hand chamber. Remember, in the left hand chamber, the volume is increasing and hence the work done must be positive. Yes or no? Yes or no? Now, how will you find out this positive work? The only way you can find out this positive work is by finding out the work done by the piston in the right chamber, because in the right chamber the process is adiabatic. So you can find out the work done on the piston by the right chamber, on the right chamber, because this is adiabatic. Same work is done on the left hand side, but remember, work done on the right hand side would be negative and work done on the left hand side would be positive. NCV delta T का negative minus NR delta T upon 1 minus gamma is the work done in an adiabatic process. To do the negative of that, that will be the work done in the left chamber, and that is what it is showing in the second part. Do we understand this? So basically, this is NCV delta T for the left part. This is work done in adiabatic process on the right part, and we have taken the negative of this. Do we understand this? Do we understand this? Okay. If you understand this, good enough. Because now we come to the last part, free expansion. What is free expansion? In free expansion, you have a piston. See, whenever gas does work, gas is always doing work against some external pressure. If there is no external pressure, for example, there is a vessel here, there is a piston here, this side there is vacuum, this side there is vacuum, this side there is gas, and I'm holding the piston here. I'm holding the piston here. Now, if I let go this piston, what will happen? This piston will expand in vacuum. There is no air, no gas on the right hand side. The piston will expand in vacuum. There is no external pressure from the other side. This type of expansion is known as what? Free expansion. Delta Q, no heat is given in this process. Delta U, delta W, everything is zero. We understand this? This type of expansion is known as free expansion. Am I clear? Am I clear? Can I have some reason that we understand this, sir? Now, this is a small question that we are going to do in this scenario. So, if any question comes to you in the main exam, which is 2 days ahead now, you should be able to do this. So, we'll do this, then we'll discuss a bit about polytropic process, and we are done. A non-conducting cylinder having volume 2 V naught is partitioned by a fixed non-conducting wall in 2 equal parts. Partition is attached with the wall. Right hand of the partition is a vacuum and left part is filled with a gas having pressure and temperature P naught and T naught. If the valve is open, find the final pressure and temperature of the both parts. Remember, this scenario is a bit different from free expansion. There is no expansion here. The piston is not moving. That is what I want to say. The piston is not moving. The example that I gave you where the piston was moving, here the piston is not moving, piston is fixed. There's only a valve. There's only a valve. One side you have gas, other side you have vacuum. There is a valve that you open it. What is the final pressure and temperature in the two parts? How will you do this? So from the first law of thermodynamics, delta Q is delta U plus delta W. There is no work done. There is no heat given. So change in internal energy is zero. So final initial temperatures are same. But now the gas has expanded to 2 times of its volume. So the pressure becomes P naught by 2. So this is how you tackle any question on what? Free expansion. Do we understand this? Yes or no? Shall we move and discuss the polytropic process? Okay. Now, most of the question that you are going to encounter will be a case where PV raised to the power eta will be a constant. Somehow you will be getting PV raised to the power eta is a constant. This is a polytropic process. Now, what all questions can be asked in this? The first question is how much is heat given in this system? In this process, any process will happen. Then it will be delta U, how much is delta U, how much is delta W, how much is the molar heat capacity of this process, of gas in this process. Number of questions can be asked like this. Now, how I'm going to solve this, just have a look, 5 minutes, we are done. We just have to apply simple things. For example, number one thing, delta Q is equal to delta U plus delta W. We all know this. Yes or no? Please keep on raising your hand so that I can move forward. I'll give you the pointers and then I'll give you one question and we are done. Now, remember, for any process, delta Q can be written as NC delta T, where C is the heat capacity for that process. You would be knowing the number of moles. So I always feel that if you know the change in temperature for any process, so wherever this question comes, wherever any question comes in thermodynamics, in first law of thermodynamics, physics or chemistry, Always try to find out the change in temperature, because if you can find out the change in temperature, you can find out delta Q, you can find out delta U, you can find out delta W, and you can stay happy. Delta U in any case can be written as NCV delta T, or you can write it as N R upon gamma minus 1 delta T. Do we understand this? Yes or no? Yes or no? Delta W. Now I am going to derive this delta W from the delta W of this part. Remember, delta U was for an adiabatic process NR delta T upon gamma minus 1. Delta W was negative of this. So I wrote 1 minus gamma. Now instead of gamma, I will write eta. So my delta W becomes NR delta T upon 1 minus eta. Do we understand this? How did I get this? Yes or no? Please raise your hands and tell me yes or no. To get the value of C, what do? You can write it in various forms. You can write it as C, you can write it as CV plus R upon 1 minus eta. Do we understand this? Do we understand this? Or you can write C as R upon gamma minus 1 plus R upon 1 minus eta. Any question that comes in any exam has to be solved by these ways. Or if it is a very difficult question, you have to use that C, that formula that I gave you, C is equal to CV plus PdV upon N delta T. That is the only way of doing this. Remember, the most important term here is delta T. I'll give you one question. Let us see how we are going to do this. Okay. Any question? Let us say you are given a process where TV square is a constant. TV square is a constant. The change in temperature, let us say, is 50 Kelvin. Let us say the gas is given as monatomic gas, and the number of moles is, let us say, 2. Find out everything of this process. Find out everything of this process means delta Q, delta U, delta W, and C. You can do this question. You can do all. I'll give you 2 minutes to solve this. If you can do it, well done. So how do we do this? My way of doing this is somehow reduce it to this form. Reduce it to this form. How do I reduce this to this form? I've gone wrong side. I just remove T. How do I remove T? T can be written as PV divided by NR into V square is a constant. Let me draw a line here. NR is a constant, so this goes away. So basically this becomes PV cube is a constant. So I get the value of eta as 3. As soon as I get the value of eta as 3, everything will come automatically. First thing, delta U, N, CV, delta T. You know the value of N is 2. You know the value of CV is 3 by 2R. You know the value of delta T, it is 50 Kelvin. So you get the value of delta U. How do you get the value of delta W? N R delta T upon 1 minus eta. You know the value of N. You know the value of R. You know the value of delta theta. You know the value of eta. You get your answers. Delta Q, you don't have to do anything. Just add delta U with delta W and you get your delta Q. You get the value of C. You just write CV. You know the value of CV is 3 by 2R plus R upon 1 minus eta. Put this value, get your answer, stay happy. Am I clear? Do we understand how to do this? Confident? Yes or no? Can I have some raised hand that we understand this? Any question that comes, just convert it into this form. Nothing else. Nothing else you need to do. There is no, what should I say, magic wand that I'm moving. I'm just applying common sense and I'm doing it in that way. No integration, no differentiation, nothing. You can simply do it. So that is all about this polytropic process. I am done from my side. If you want, I can give you one or more example. But I think this is enough. What I want to tell you again and again and again and again is that Sunday is just a day of your life. 3rd October. It might look very important now. It is, yes. Might decide how you are going to move ahead in your life, yes. But again, one exam, one day, not deciding your future. Trust me. You have your passion with you. If you work hard, if you make your passion, your work, your job, from wherever you pass out, beta, whatever college. I'll tell you about my friends who have passed out from colleges whose names we don't even remember. They are not even recognized. I mean, recognized means they are not in the ranking anywhere, not even in the state ranking. They are doing well. They are doing wonderfully well. Wonderfully well. An exam does not decide your future. Just as I always tell you, NITs and IITs or any good college from your state, from outside your state, government college, private colleges. So many engineering colleges are there, beta. The choice is endless. It just gives you a platform, beta. Just gives you a platform. Well, if you work hard, you will get that platform. If you don't get it now, not because you have not worked hard, it's just because on that exam day you were not feeling well, you could not perform, whatever reason. You will not probably get that platform from that college, but you will get the same platform from some other college. If you have talent, the talent cannot be curbed. IIT will give you more chances. The probability becomes high, but doesn't matter. I never went to an IIT, but I went to the college that was best in the country because that's my college. That was the best college in the country for many engineering, I must tell you. There are a lot of things that you can do right now with so much diversification. There's so many things that you can do in engineering college, outside engineering college. Most of these engineering graduates, whether they're IITs or they're NITs, they go for MBA. And once you have gone for MBA, this IIT wala degree is of no use. It's waste. It's waste because if you don't do, if you don't get into an IIM and you're working in a firm, there might be a colleague of yours who is junior to you, who has not done any IIT, who has just done BCom from some local school or college. He had cracked IIM Ahmedabad and he will be your boss. So he will be knowing nothing about engineering. You will be knowing everything about engineering, but then you will not be able to surpass him. So, passion, life is endless. IITs give you a platform, yes. NITs give you a platform, yes, but that is not the end of life. That is just the beginning of your life. You begin your life from that stage, and if you work hard, no one can stop you. But if you work hard from anywhere, any part of this country, any college of this country, outside country, you are bound to succeed in life. So don't take anything too hard. Okay, you might feel good, very good if you clear JE. You might not feel so good if you're not able to do it, but you must always retrospect how much effort did you put and is that result reflective of your effort. If you think, no, I could have done better or I want to do better, well, there's also is one more chance left for you. And this time, give it your best. That is how I'll end the class. On this note, I wish you all the best for your exam and your life, which is coming. You can search anywhere for me on Facebook, on YouTube by the name Astik, and you will find me somewhere. I'm active on all these sites. You can find me anywhere. You can get in touch with me, not a problem. anything, anywhere I can help you with my advice, I will be the first one to give you that. You clear JE, you need advice and counseling, you can always catch me up. I am doing a lot of research on this. I'm making videos as well on this. I can help you a lot. Anywhere, in whatever ways I can, please get in touch with me. I'm there for you always, bacha. Take care. May God bless you and may you find your happiness and your passion very soon. Bye bye from now. Sayonara. Take care.